Alright guys, Fula coming to you with another Guerilla boxing video. Man, all I can say is that when you're awesome, you're awesome. Okay? And I've always rated Dimitri Bivol. I think he really came to my attention after he beat Sullivan Barrera. I'm like, this guy has a style that is just very, very tricky style. And it's a very, very, like, many people will argue that it's an amateurish style, but I think with him, it's a matter of completely dominating you rather than going for the knockout. I don't even think that he really breaks you down. I think he just like outpoints you to a point where you get so frustrated that you don't even want to try anymore. I think that's what happens, versus Beterbiev where he breaks you down, like the difference between those two is this. Dimitri Bivol will outpoint you, school you, give you a boxing lesson, and just outpoint you completely. And you may think that, okay, I have a chance, like you just lose motivation to fight back most of the time. You just lose your motivation to even come up with different strategies on how to beat him. That's the Dimitri Bivol style, you know what I mean? I think that maybe in his later fights he will maybe, desire more to get knockouts. I don't know. Maybe he'll decide, hey, I need to get more knockouts. But with Beterbiev, for example, is Beterbiev breaks you down. And the thing is, the difference between Beterbiev is that he's there right in front of you, breaking you down. So you think, okay, if I can get some shots on him, if I can get a major hit on him, if I can catch him slipping, then I can change the tide of this fight. You know what I mean? But what happens with him is that with Beterbiev and his style of defense, he's pretty good at that, like playing the game of inches, where you may hit him, but it's just like a grazing hit. Like he just grazes you, like you just graze him when you hit him. Sometimes he's been caught clean, you know what I mean? But most of the time it's a grazing hit. And then what happens is, like, basically you think that, okay, I outboxed the puncher, right? But the whole time he's just sucking the air out of you without you, like, maybe not without you knowing that, you know what I mean? Until you get to those later rounds, and then that's all she wrote. That's what happens. But Dimitri Bivol, for me, I'm pound for pound is objective. I have a different pound for pound list than many people would have. But the thing that is really, makes it awesome is that Dimitri Bivol, as quiet as he is, and the thing is about boxing is some people have personality cults, you know what I mean? And they have, like, fighters, they like a fighter based off of the mess he talks. The thing I like about Bivol and Beterbiev and Jaron Ennis too, and Jaron Ennis as well, David Morrell as well, is that these guys, they don't have much to say. They just get the job done, which I can appreciate. In an ideal world, your boxing skills would sell you versus what your jibber jabber on the outside of the ring. And unfortunately, for example, Ryan Garcia falls into that category. Now, although he's not fighting anymore, Paulie Malignaggi falls into that category. He has way more to say than he ever had to say when he was fighting, you know. And I would also argue that who else is another fighter who falls into that category as well. Hate to say it, but you know, I respect him for his skill. I respect him for his abilities. I think he's the biggest threat to Tank and Devin Haney. But Shakur Stevenson kind of falls into that category as well right now. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it just is what it is. And I mean, that's his prerogative, you know. That's his prerogative. That's how he feels he needs to conduct himself. Keyshawn Davis is the same way, you know. But I'll tell you one fighter who's young as them, and you know, me, in my personal opinion, this is just my personal opinion, okay? My personal opinion. You don't have to like my personal opinion, but he fights at lightweight as well. But I think Abdullah Mason is better than Keyshawn Davis. That's just me, though. That's just what I think. I think Abdullah Mason is better than Keyshawn Davis. Just obvious reasons why I think he's better. But back to the Bivol thing, you know, this was actually a great surprise to me, basically. With Bivol, right, I was really surprised to read this, that, you know, and this comes from his manager. I think Eddie, I think for the most part, Eddie Hearn just uses Bivol as a means to say he promotes him and stuff like that, but I think like Eddie Hearn really just sets up. I think Eddie Hearn, since Eddie Hearn is affiliated with Matchroom and The Zone, I think that since Bivol fights on Matchroom and The Zone, that Eddie Hearn is a matter of convenience for him. But I think Bivol has something going on outside of Eddie Hearn. So, you know, Bivol actually, you know, the thing, and this is shocking to me, because we know how Canelo likes to fight. We know that Canelo likes to weight drain dudes. We know Canelo likes to put hydration clauses on dudes. We know he likes to do these things. We know that I think Daniel Jacobs lost some of his purse due to the hydration clauses that Canelo put on him. You know, I believe that was the case. Yeah, I think so. I think he lost some of his money. But what I'm getting at is that you know, Bivol at first, it seemed like he had cold feet in wanting to fight at 168, but now I guess that since he's been in the gym, like just waiting for the call for the fights, that he is really wanting the fight just to be at 168. He does not want the fight to be at 175. And I think, number one, he's thinking that, okay, if I beat him at 168, I get to be undisputed at 168. Number two, my value goes up because I can come up to 175 and then go ahead and fight Bivol. And if I win that, I will be undisputed in 2 divisions, which would be awesome. Which would mean that he would be pound for pound number 1 by far. There will be no contest. There will be no dispute about that. So now, you know, Canelo has ruled out that idea of fighting him at 168. And the thing is why would you rule out an idea that would be to your advantage? That's what I'm thinking. Like, if you were really confident that you can beat this guy, then you would fight him at 168. You would fight him at the weight class in which you feel most comfortable in making. You even said in the past that, oh, 175 is too big. All right, bet. He's telling you, I will fight you at 168 then. No problem. So my thing is, okay, why not just fight him at 168? He's telling you that I am willing to fight you at 168, so why not just fight him at that weight? I don't see the problem. You know, this is confusing to me. So, Bivol's manager said Bivol already beat him. He's not as motivated, and there's not really that big of a challenge of him. So they have to meet certain terms that we're asking for. And one of those terms right now is Bivol wants to fight him at 168. And I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I, you know, this is just my personal opinion. And, you know, of course, Canelo fans and, of course, like patriotic, you know, Mexican fans are going to be mad too. But Canelo is just not suited to beat Bivol. Gilberto Ramirez was not suited to beat Bivol. To be honest, I don't think any Mexican fighter is suited to beat Bivol. I hate to say it, but when you come from a certain type of school, it doesn't really go down well with the other school if that guy from the other school knows how to fight the way you know how to fight, plus he knows how to fight his own school. We saw that with Gilberto Ramirez. We saw it with Canelo. There were points in the fight where Bivol decided, okay, I'm going to put my foot on the gas a little bit, be a little bit aggressive, come at these guys, push forward. And that's part of the Mexican school, is pushing forward. So when someone does what you do better than, when someone does something, the thing that you are known for and does it better than you, plus he knows how to do the other things better than you from his own school, then yeah, bro, it's not gonna go down well. So, you know, so what the manager said, what Bivol's manager said as well, is first of all, it's enticing for him to have all the titles on the line, and he doesn't want any more excuses, because Canelo said after the last fight that he went up in weight, and he's done that before. So Canelo is still pushing to fight at 175. And it's like, okay, cool, but why not fight at a weight class where you're going to be the one at the advantage? You know, that's the thing. Like, I don't get it, you know? Like, I don't get why you wouldn't fight at a weight class where you will clearly have the advantage. So, it would be pointless. It would be pointless for the rematch to take place at 175. I'm just going to say Bivol is a better fighter than Canelo. You know, skill-wise, Bivol is a better fighter. Popularity, Canelo has more popularity, but skill-wise, there's many fighters better than Canelo. Bivol is one of them. Beterbiev is another one. David Morrell is another one. You know, I'm just naming these weight classes in which Canelo fights at. So, with that being said, you know, he is a better fighter. Everybody, I mean, not really a lot of people believe that he's a better fighter, but he is, you know. So he so Canelo blamed his loss on Bivol for fighting outside of his natural weight. And so the manager of Bivol does not want that similar excuse in the rematch. So they have decided, okay, the only way for that card to be prevented from being pulled again is to have it at 168. You know. So he was talking about fighting Bivol in May. We know he's fighting John Ryder. I'm not watching that fight. You know, there's no point in me watching that fight. I didn't even watch the last Triple G fight, to be honest. I was thinking about rewatching it, but I'm like, nah. You know, I saw the highlights, and from what I looked at the highlights, you know, nothing really special. But so if Canelo could say we wanted the fight, but they didn't want to accept the terms. Bivol already beat him, so he's not really motivated. And they don't want no more excuses. And yeah, you know, of course, there's going to be a rehydration clause on 168. You know, Canelo. What will probably happen, and I'm going to end this video, is that I think even with a rehydration clause, Bivol will just still be too skillful to be able to, like, I think he would be able to withstand. And I think Canelo wouldn't change his tactics. He would just come on very aggressive and be walking into stuff, you know. Bivol, and I'm going to be honest, I think Bivol, with the right dietitians and the right nutritionists, could cut the weight relatively healthy and what you call it, be pretty successful, man. So, you know, I think what will happen though, I'm gonna end this video on this note. I think what will happen with Canelo is that he will beat John Ryder, and then he will pull a magic opponent, or the WBC will pull a magic opponent out of a hat and say it's his mandatory. And David Benavidez, David Morrell, and also Demetrius Andrade, or Andrade, whoever you ask, will not be a consideration. You know what I mean? I really just believe that, you know, even with Demetrius Andrade being, I think he's around like 35 or so. I think if he was motivated to fight, we would see a different level of him. Also, we have to consider inactivity, which will give you ring rust as well. So yeah, but we know that with all this being said, that, like, yeah, Canelo ain't gonna fight. I don't see Canelo fighting Bivol. You know, the only way I see that fight happening at 175 is if they throw out boku money for the rematch, like just boku money, an offer that Bivol and Team Bivol would not be able to refuse. That's the only reason I see that happening. But other than that, I don't see no rematch. Canelo fighting Triple G again. I think after John Ryder, Canelo will probably fight someone like Edgar Berlanga. Yeah, he will fight someone like Edgar Berlanga. Well, anyhow, man, that's all I got for now. Y'all leave your thoughts. Let me know what y'all think. Fula signing out. Enjoy.